The drama surrounding Tenshin Nasukawa is unlike anything else in the modern world of combat sports. He is a contradiction made flesh, a boyish face, hiding the heart of a ruthless assassin. A prodigy who looks like a schoolboy yet fights with the fury of a seasoned warrior. To his fans, he is the Wonderkid, the living embodiment of martial artistry, refined to its purest form. But to those foolish enough to cross him with arrogance and disrespect, he is nothing short of a nightmare. And time after time, cocky. Challengers have stepped into the ring with smirks, with bravado, with dirty tricks, and cheap insults, believing that Nasukawa's youthful appearance made him soft, beatable, even weak. But when they made that mistake, when they dared to treat him as less than the warrior he truly is, they paid with pain, humiliation, and defeat. Because against Tenshin Nasukawa, disrespect is nothing less than a death sentence. From the earliest days of his career, Nasukawa showed the world that he was no ordinary fighter. As a teenager, he carved his way through older, stronger men with a style that combined precision, speed, and creativity rarely seen in combat sports. His kicks were like whips, his punches like lightning bolts, his timing the kind of weapon you can't train for. You're either born with it or you're not. But what made him truly dangerous was his mentality. Tenshin carried himself with the calm focus of a ninja, a modern-day samurai who believed that honor mattered above all else. And when someone disrespected him, when an opponent tried to mock his skills or insult his integrity, Tenshin turned into something else entirely. He became a punisher. Take the case of Fritz Biagan in 2019, a Filipino fighter who came to Japan carrying not just his own hopes, but the pride of a nation behind him. Even Manny Pacquiao, the great Filipino icon, sat ringside to support his compatriot. On paper, it was supposed to be a battle by Biagan's power against Tenshin's speed, strength against skill. But from the moment the bell rang, it became clear that this was no even contest. Biagan strutted forward like a caricature, throwing punches like a toy monkey, clanging its cymbals, sloppy and reckless. The crowd watched as the young Japanese prodigy dissected him, cutting him down piece by piece, turning the fight into something closer to a one-man showcase than a competition. Tenshin battered the Filipino with precision strikes, combinations that landed like poetry in motion, and within minutes the fight was all but over. By the time the referee raised Tenshin's hand, Pacquiao himself looked stunned, as though he had just witnessed the future of fighting unfold before his eyes. Biagan had come to Japan full of confidence, but he left as nothing more than a broken warning to all others who might underestimate the boy wonder. But arrogance is a disease that spreads icily in the fight game. And not long after, another man named Viel Mayakai stepped forward. If Biagan had been overconfident, Mayakai was worse. He strutted into the ring like a king, mocking Tenshin's punches, smirking after every strike as if nothing could touch him. To him, Nasukawa's power was a joke, his punches no more dangerous than mosquito bites. The crowd could see the mockery, could sense the arrogance dripping from the man's every gesture. But arrogance has a way of blinding a fighter, making them believe they are untouchable till they aren't. Mayakai's fatal mistake came when he crossed a line no true fighter should ever cross. He threw a dirty shot below the belt, aiming to cripple the young samurai, to rob him of his strength through dishonorable means. For a brief moment, the arena gasped. The act was disgusting, shameless, rat-like. But that moment was also the spark that lit the fire of Nasukawa's wrath. With eyes blazing and fists loaded with karma, Tenshin unleashed a storm upon Mayakai. Every punch was a lesson, every kick a punishment, every strike a declaration that dishonor would not be tolerated. He battered the TIE fighter until blood flowed and the arrogance drained from his smirk, leaving only pain and fear in its place. In the end, Mayakai had no choice but to surrender, beaten not just physically but spiritually. The prodigy had taught another rat the price of arrogance. And then there was Rod Tang, Git Muangnan, the Iron Man of Muay Thai, the legend who seemed almost inhuman in his toughness. For Tenshin, facing Rod Tang in 2017 was more than just another fight. It was an opportunity to test himself against one of the most feared warriors in the world. From the first bell, the two men clashed like titans, trading strikes at a pace few fighters on Earth could even comprehend. Taunted, absorbed strikes as though they were nothing more than gentle taps. He mocked tension in the ring, smiling, shrugging off kicks and punches, acting as if the Japanese phenom was nothing but a nuisance. But Nasukawa was no nuisance. He was a storm hiding behind a boyish grin, and when he unleashed his full arsenal, the tide began to turn. Kicks flew like blades, punches snapped like gunshots, and combinations landed with surgical precision. Rodtang fought back with his trademark toughness, absorbing punishment that would have finished lesser men. But even the Iron Man began to feel the weight of Tenshin's fury. The fight escalated into a spectacle of violence, a clash so brutal that when the bell rang at the end, the crowd erupted into stunned applause. The judges, unable to find a clear winner, demanded an extra round. And in that round, Tenshin proved himself the superior warrior, outclassing Rodtang with relentless speed and power. The unanimous decision belonged to the Japanese prodigy, and once again, arrogance had been punished in the most brutal way. Still, the lessons didn't end there. In 2016, Tenshin faced Wanchong Sanchi, another Thai fighter who showed just how low arrogance can drive a man. When the two touched gloves at the start, instead of a respectful exchange, Wanchong launched a cheap, shot a disgraceful act that transformed the arena into a battlefield of honor. Tenshin, stunned for only a moment, quickly reset. His face hardened, his eyes sharpened, and then he went to work. What followed was not a fight, it was an execution. Nasukawa's strikes turned Wanchong into little more than a punching bag. He struck with spinning kicks, lightning punches, and combinations so fast, the crowd could barely keep up. The punishment was relentless, and when the final brutal kick landed, Wanchong crumpled like a rag doll, his soul seemingly torn from his body. Tenshin had not only won, he had avenged the honor that his opponent had dared to tarnish. But perhaps the clearest example of karma in action came in 2022, when Nasukawa faced Sagawa. By this point, Tenshin was undefeated, a prodigy turned superstar, one of the greatest fighters in Japanese history. But success brings arrogance not to him, but to his opponents. Sagawa strutted into the ring with a smirk, mocking Tenshin's every move, taunting him with gestures, dismissing his strikes as if they were nothing. It was disrespect of the highest order, and Tenshin, though calm on the outside, was already sharpening his punishment. The fight was ugly. Sagawa, realizing he could not match Tenshin's speed or precision, turned to dirty tactics. He poked him in the eye, tried to maim him with illegal shots, even came close to injuring his spine. For a brief moment, it looked like Tenshin might be in real danger. But you cannot break a man who carries the spirit of a warrior. Infuriated, Tenshin dug deep and unleashed a storm so violent that Sagawa's arrogance evaporated in seconds. Punches rained down like thunder, and soon the cocky challenger was sent crashing to the canvas.